Hi friends, this is Subrat here, and in this tutorial I'm going to cover about pandas.DropNA function. So let us see what is dropNA function and where to use it and how to use it. So in generally when we are doing machine learning, at first we need to do data pre-processing steps. So the one of the step is to treat the missing values. So for treating missing value we have one technique that we can drop the missing value row or column. To achieve that we have drop_NA function that we can use to treat the missing value. So here I have the full signature of the drop_NA function. So let us understand deeply each and every attributes and with some examples. So at first drop_NA functions come under pandas library and we have to import pandas library before using drop_NA function. And drop_NA function we have to use it with data frame only. I will show you with some different examples and you guys will be clear on it. So let us see at first what are the attributes we have. At first I have axis attribute. So what is the use of axis? So here axis is saying in which direction you want to search for the missing values, whether you want to search as a row wise or you want to search as a column wise. So here x is equal to 0 indicates you want to search row wise and x is equal to 1 indicates you want to search column wise. Here the default value of x is 0, means it will by default it will search row wise. And one more way also you can mention the axis value. You can also put x is equal to index or x is equal to column. That also signifies the same thing. So here 0 or index drop rows which contain missing values. 1 or column indicates drop columns which contains the missing values. So we have understood what is the use of axis as an attribute. So axis is used to specify in which direction you want to search the missing value. So how? Let us understand what is the use of how. So here how is indicating the condition which you want to implement. How you want to drop the missing value. So here how will take two parameter as an argument. First one is any and second one is all, and the default parameter is any. So let us see what is any and all. So if you have mentioned x is equal to 0 or x is equal to 1 and how equal to any, that means it will search that particular row or column if it has at least one missing value or NA value. It will search at least one missing value or one NA value. Where in case of all, it will search if the column or row is having all missing values or all NA values, then it will drop that particular row or column. Okay. In case of any, it will search for at least one missing value, but in case of all, it will search the row should have all missing value, then only it will drop that particular row or column. And third most parameter is threshold. So let us understand what is threshold. Threshold signifies what is the minimum number of non-NA values should be there inside a row or column, then only it won't drop that particular row or column. If it is below the threshold amount, then only it will drop that particular row or column. Suppose for example I have mentioned threshold equal to 3. That means it will search that particular row or column which is having 3 number of non-NA values. If it has below 3, then only it will drop that particular row or column. Our row or column should satisfy the threshold amount if you are mentioning here. If it is below the threshold amount, then only it will drop that particular row or column. And the next parameter is subset. Let us understand what is the use of subset. Subset is optional in nature and it is structure like array like structure. So here subset indicating what is the what are the set of columns you want to take into consider while treating the missing value. So in subset I can mention the list of columns my compiler need to search for finding the missing value. If I have mentioned only two columns, then it will search missing value inside the two columns only. It won't search the whole list of column that I have in my dataset. So in subset you can pass a array mentioning the columns you want to consider while treating the missing value. So at last I have in place argument. So in place is of boolean type. It will take true or false as a value, and it has default value as false. So in place, what it's indicating, so whenever if you are mentioning in place equal to true, it will do the updates inside the same variable only. That means if I have data frame called df and I have put in place equal to true, so after dropping all those missing value, it will update inside the same data frame df only. It won't create a new data frame. So what is the return type of the dropna function? So in every function it is important to understand what is the return type of the function. So here the return type of the drop function is data frame. So after dropping all those missing values or NA values, it will return a new data frame without any rows containing those missing values. So friends, this is all about theory regarding the drop NA function, and I'll be explaining each and every attributes with some examples so you guys will be clear on it. So friends, as of now we have seen all the theories regarding the drop NA function. So let us understand the drop NA function with some different examples. So here I have mentioned the signature of the drop NA function. So I'll be explaining each and every attributes with some example. So to do the drop NA function and work on it, I have one data set available with me. So at first let us understand what is the data set is there with me. So this is the credit card fraud detection dataset. This is the sample dataset. I have randomly put those values. And here I have like account ID, transaction size, time since last transaction size, average time between transaction which is in seconds, average transaction size, same shop or not, time of the transaction, like it will be go from 1 to 24, and whether the transaction is fraud or non-fraud. All those time is in second format and the transaction is in rupees, and same shop or not means whether the customer has already shopped in that particular shop or not. If it's a new shop, then it will be 0. If he has already shopped on that particular shop, it will be 1. Here the time of the transaction will go from 1 to 24. So here you can see clearly that I have lot of missing values in particular columns. So before feeding this dataset to our machine learning algorithm, we need to treat our missing values. So then only our algorithm will predict correctly the future input values. So let us treat this missing value by using dropna function. So here I have mentioned what is the path of my dataset. Let us import at first my pandas library. Import pandas search pd port, and then I can create a new data frame called df, and I can read it by using pandas read underscore csv file. So I need to give the entire path of my dataset. So here I have successfully read my dataset. So let us see the head of the dataset, df.head. So it will give me 5 rows. So here you can see in my original raw dataset I have missing value, nothing has mentioned, but while after reading the dataset by using panda read csv, the missing values will be replaced with nan. So here NaN stands for not a number. Not a number. So let us see here with all those attributes and implementing each and every attributes. So let us experiment with the x is equal to 0 or 1. So I have df dot drop na x is equal to 0. 0 is the default value of the axis, and drop na function will always return me a data frame, so I need to store it into a new data frame. So here you can see new data frame. So here what you can see that it has dropped all those rows which contain at least one NA value. So here you can see I have only 8th, 10th and 19th record which doesn't contain any NA value. That's why it didn't drop it. So before doing that, I need to check what is the percentage of NA values are there in each column. So let us do that. So for that I have to use isNull function. After each null I can sum all those values and I can divide it with my length of my data frame, and to convert it into percentage I need to multiply with 100. So here you can see the percentage of missing values in my different columns. Here account ID I don't have any missing value, that is for that reason it is 0. And for transaction size we have 20% missing value, and all those columns have respectively missing value counts. So here we have seen x is equal to 0. So let us see what is the use of x is equal to 1. So new data frame equal to df dot drop na x is equal to 1. Then I need to print what is the updated data frame over here. So x is equal to 1, what it is doing, so it is dropping all those columns which contain the missing value. So except account ID I have missing values in all those columns. So here you can see I have missing values in all those columns, and that's why it is dropping all those columns except my account ID column. So here we are clear on the axis attribute. Here axis can take as parameter as 0 or 1. So one more way of doing it is new underscore df data frame dot drop na x is equal to index. So here x is equal to index means row wise searching. So you can print after the updated data frame. So here it will search row wise and it will drop all those rows which contains at least one missing value. So one more way of doing it is, so x is equal to columns. So x is equal to columns. Here it will search column wise. So one of the alternative way of x is equal to 0 or 1 is x is equal to index and x is equal to columns. So here we are now clear on axis attribute. So see what is the use of how attribute. This is my new data frame equal to df dot drop na So axis value will be 0 by default, and how value will be any by default. So here you can see if I have any missing values in my row, then it is dropping that particular row. Suppose if I am putting how equal to all, so it will check if the row is having all those missing values, then only it will drop that particular row. But in my case I don't have such rows that contains all the missing values, so it is not dropping any rows over here. So here we are clear on how as an attribute. So let us see threshold. Let us understand threshold over here. Suppose I want to see threshold as 2. That means if a row is having non-NA values below 2 number, then only it will drop that particular row. So at first let's see whether I have any rows like that. As I have mentioned threshold equal to 2, let's see what are the non-NA values, 2 number of non-NA values. In all my cases I have above 2 number of non-NA values, so it won't drop anything. So let us see one of the example. Okay, this one, okay, fine. Okay, see here I have how many non-NA value I can calculate: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Here I have minimum 5 non-NA values with me. So if I am mentioning threshold as 6, okay, then it will search for the rows which is having less than 6 number of non-NA values. So in this case I have only 5 number of non-NA values, so that reason it will drop this particular row. So just mark it. We can see that it is having row index of 3 and account ID of 4. So after doing this threshold equal to 6, it will drop that particular row number 3. So here you can see it has dropped that particular row. So here after 2 it has came 4, so it has dropped that particular row as it is having below threshold amount number of non-NA values. So here we are clear on threshold amount. So let's see what is the use of subset. So as I said in my theory, in subset we can pass the number of columns you want to check for treating the missing values. Suppose I have new underscore df equal to df drop na subset equal to, I want to subset only the transaction size and same sub or not. So let us copy the names correctly. So inside the list only you have to pass the parameters. Transaction size you have to separate it with comma, whether it is same sub or not. If what it is saying, if I have missing values only in these two columns, then only drop that particular row, or else don't drop it. So before doing that we can mark it. So here same sub or not, this row number 2 should be dropped as I have NA in that same sub or not. This row number 11 should be dropped, row number 15 should be dropped, and row number 17 should be dropped. And in transaction size I have NA values as 7, 12 and 18. Let us first mark it and then only you will be clear on it. So in transaction size I have 7, then in 12, then in 18. I have 3 NA values in my transaction column, and same shop or not I have on 2, I have on 11, I have on 15, and last one is I have on 17. So let us see whether it's dropping all these column rows or not. After that I need to print my updated data frame. So see here, after 6 it should come 8, 7 has been dropped, 12 has been dropped, 18 has been dropped, 2 has been dropped, 11 has been dropped, and 15 and 17 also has been dropped. So here you can see that when you are mentioning subset under that some column names, it will search in that those particular columns only. So here we are clear on the subset as an argument. And the last argument we need to see, which is inplace argument. So the default value of the inplace argument is false. So let us change that and see what is the new updates we are getting. New df equal to df dot drop na in place equal to true. So the default value of in place is false. So let us do that first. If I am doing that in place equal to false, the new df will be like this. It won't update my original data frame. If I am printing it, it will be same as before. It is giving me a new data frame and I am storing it into new data frame as an variable, but it is not updating my old data frame, which is df. To do that I can put like in place equal to true. If I am doing in place equal to true, then if I am printing my old data frame, then it has updated that data frame and it has removed all those missing values. So this is the use of in place as an argument. So friends, this is all about my drop na function, and I have discussed each and every attributes with some examples. I hope this concept is clear. If you guys have any doubt, leave a comment on under my video. Thank you.